Yesterday, Noah Gragson and Ty Gibbs battled door-to-door for the Xfinity Series win, kept it clean. Today, Denny Hamlin and Ross Chastain had the same opportunity and did not take advantage of it, or did take advantage of it, depending on who you ask. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove post-race edition. Not the most scenic view. I got this chain link fence between me and the gorgeous Pocono Raceway grandstands and spires. But we're here on location reacting to today's M&M's Fan Appreciation 400. I got to make this quick because there is some weather rolling in. But there's so much I have to say about this race. I wasn't sure what the storylines coming in would be. I wasn't sure. Is it just, 6 races until the playoffs begin? Maybe a chance for surprise winner. Pocono is the tricky triangle. Weird things are known to happen. Yesterday, a guy flipped down the front stretch. You just never know what to expect here. That was the number one story coming in. Quickly, things pivoted to Ty Gibbs filling in for Kurt Busch, who was out today with a concussion after crashing in qualifying yesterday. Which, side note, we'll touch on that in a video probably later this week. Safety on these next-gen cars needs to be addressed. I literally did a video a few days ago reacting to an NBC Sports article where drivers were complaining of headaches and harder hits this year. This should be a wake-up call to NASCAR. You got to do something to change the way these cars impact the wall. But that's besides the point. Ty Gibbs making his highly anticipated Cup Series debut, driving the 45. Just kind of rode around for the first couple of stages, took it really easy, was running like 28th, 30th, but at the end of this thing, I'm not exactly sure how he got there. He snuck into the top 20 and briefly was in the top 15, finished 18th, so that was a great story to follow and kind of a surprise coming into the weekend. But late in this race, the narrative took yet another turn. Denny Hamlin found himself side by side with Ross Chastain in the closing laps on a restart, and he chose not to lift. Obviously, if you watch the race, you know what I'm talking about, but Ross Chastain and Denny Hamlin have a history. Going back to Gateway a couple months ago, Chastain just punted Hamlin early in the race. An over-aggressive mistake cost Hamlin a chance at a good day. Chastain went on to finish inside the top 10. And then just a couple weeks ago at Atlanta, Chastain just drifted up the track, got tight, didn't lift, and took Hamlin out there as well. So Hamlin owed Ross Chastain. To me, that is inarguable. What is arguable, what is debatable, is how Denny Hamlin chose to get that payback, which I think is what we can call today, at least to an extent. Are Ross Chastain and Denny Hamlin perfectly even? Nah. But they're certainly a step closer to being even after Denny Hamlin just walled Ross Chastain coming out of turn 1. He knew exactly what he was doing. He knew exactly who it was to his outside. If anyone else is outside Denny Hamlin there, I don't think he makes the same move. He does not drive it in that deep and just slide up as if no one's there. He made that move because it was Ross Chastain. So anyone saying that, oh no, they were just racing hard for the win. No, he raced Ross Chastain differently because his name was Ross Chastain and because he felt he owed Chastain one. It was payback disguised as hard, aggressive racing for the win. But let's be blunt, it was a careless move. If Denny Hamlin makes that move on anybody else who he doesn't have a bad history with, we'd be ripping him to shreds because he literally moved up in the center of the turn as if nobody was to his outside, made contact with Chastain, and still never lifted. He exited the corner as if no one was to his outside. If Chastain had somehow been able to stay on Hamlin's quarter panel, he would have been wrecked then. So it was intentional payback. Not in the same way Kenseth plowed through Logano at Martinsville a few years ago. He didn't right hook him into the fence or anything, but it was payback, clear and obvious. But to me, it was justified. I think they're very close to even, if not even. In fact, I would say they are even right now, but I don't expect Hamlin to give Chastain much of an inch going forward. I don't expect him to just run him into the fence again this year. I'd be a little surprised if he did that, but I do not expect Hamlin to race Chastain lightly from here on out. So I'd say they're mostly even in that respect. But to me, the move today was justified considering how Hamlin has been raced by Chastain this season. Now, what I didn't like about it is that he chose to do this at a high-speed track in front of the entire field, because you saw Kevin Harvick was involved and he radioed his crew afterwards that he almost broke his wrist, caught in the steering wheel. So intentionally racing carelessly like that in front of the field when everyone's going at least 150, 160 miles an hour, I don't love that. I'm not a huge fan of that. Thankfully, only really one other car was involved, and thankfully, I don't think Kevin Harvick was injured in the accident, but to me that deserves to be called out and condemned. I do appreciate Denny Hamlin sticking to his word, I think, to an extent. He said that he was going to get Chastain back when it matters most. And sure, this isn't for the championship, this isn't for a spot in the Final Four, but this is for a win at one of Denny Hamlin's greatest historic tracks. Both Hamlin and Chastain had 2 wins apiece coming into this race. Now, Hamlin nudges himself ahead with a 3rd win. So while maybe it didn't matter most, it still mattered an awful lot. Going for the win late in a NASCAR Cup Series race, shortly before the playoffs, when momentum, I think, is a real thing. So yeah, it's tough to summarize my feelings on this whole thing. I think payback was justified. I think the way Hamlin did it, kind of disguising it as just an aggressive move for the win, I think that was all fair. I just don't love that he did it in front of the whole field and almost wrecked a bunch of cars. All right, real quick, I want to look at some of the top finishers. Denny Hamlin does get the win, and I don't want to take anything away from him there. You know, Kyle Busch, who finished second, looked to have the best car throughout most of this race, but late, Denny Hamlin came on strong on that after that final cycle of green flag pit stops. You know, Busch lost time to Chastain, lost the lead to Chastain, and then just got passed straight up by Denny Hamlin a few laps later. So Hamlin's car came on strong when it mattered the most at the very end. So I think he deserved the win. And again, he's got 3 wins this year. He's still back there like 18th or something in the regular season standings, but 3 wins, that's 15 playoff points on top of the handful of stages he's won. So 5 playoff points, very, very important as we near the end of the summer and we look towards the playoffs. Chase Elliott, Tyler Reddick, Daniel Suarez, who is my pick coming into this race, all get top 5s. They were all fast. To me, Pocono rewards the teams that have been fastest all season. And so you see Joe Gibbs Racing, Hendrick, Trackhouse, and throw even an RCR car there. Like, those have been the best teams all season, so no surprise they're all in the top 5. Another top 10 for Michael McDowell. How about that, finishing 8th? I already mentioned it. He's not pictured here, but Ty Gibbs, I do want to give him a shout out. Called on in the last minute, finishes 18th in his NASCAR Cup Series debut. That's pretty good. One driver you don't see here in the top finishers, but I now will show you here when we look at the updated playoff grid standings, Ryan Blaney. He was fast, got stage points. In fact, he collected 13 stage points across stage 1 and stage 2, so it was very relevant, was up in the top 5, but he had a flat tire at one point, then later spun out and crashed into the inside wall hard coming out of turn 3. It's a good thing he got all those stage points, because otherwise this gap back to Truex would be even smaller. You know, obviously both him and Truex are currently inside the top 16, but with 5 more races to go, a few wild cards in there, you know, one surprise winner, Truex is out. So you don't want to be the last guy in. You want to stay at least one spot above that cut line as Blaney sits currently, but not a great points result at the end of today, despite the good stage performance. Gosh, it's getting really dark. I'm gonna have to make this quick. Okay, let's put this race on the groovy gauge and then we can get out of here. This is my first trip to Pocono. You'll see a full vlog here in a few days, but I had a great time. Great racing. Yeah, definitely got strung out, typical Pocono stuff, but some very competitive restarts, great battles for lead, some great strategy differentials in stage 2 and a little bit towards the end of stage 3. Obviously the payback and controversy, Chastain and Hamlin. This race had a lot, so I'm gonna give it a 75%. I thought it was a very, very solid, very strong Pocono race. God, it's getting so dark out here. Share your thoughts down in the comment section below. They're actually like on the loudspeakers, they just stopped, but they're like warning to seek shelter, so I'm gonna have to do that in a moment. I could keep going and going. We have so much news to get to later this week once I get back home to my studio, so gonna be a jam-packed few days of content. Hope you guys are looking forward to it, but these are my immediate spur-of-the-moment thoughts. Now there's a track sweeper parking like 20 feet from my camera. Oh, heard that, right? Thank you so much for watching, guys. That's gonna do it. I'm gonna get out of here. Hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Share your thoughts down in the comment section below. I'm curious, do you think Ross Chastain and Denny Hamlin are even now? Or do you think there'll be more funny business down the line? Share your thoughts. That's gonna do it. I will see you again very, very soon. I just felt a raindrop. I'm out, ski.